Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 2 of the B2B website Teardown series. In this particular episode, we are going to be looking at Suncoast Partners International. Now, the founder and the CEO of this company is Dan Nelson. He's a good friend of ours. We've worked with him with another client. He's actually been on our podcast before, so we have a really good relationship with him. He offered up his website, so we are going to tackle that. If you haven't seen episode number 1, I definitely recommend giving that a listen and a watch. We talk about Sweetfish Media. I also give a little bit of an introduction to this whole series and what it's all about. Okay, so in this episode, we are going to be looking at Dan's website, which is found at suncoast-partners.com. What he offers is consulting in the sales space. So his companies, his clients are B2B tech. This is his website that you see right here. And there are 3 things that I'm going to pinpoint today. The first is going to be content. The second piece is going to be the visual design aspect of it, and more particular, the images that he's using. And the third piece is his conversion strategy, like what is his major call to action and how he's executing that on his site. Okay, so those are the 3 pieces. So let's get into the first piece, which is content. If you look around Dan's website, it's pretty light. Home, about, SPI, he's got a services section here and a contact. It's just missing a lot of thought leadership. When you're in B2B, especially when you're targeting B2B technology companies that are going to really probably vet their vendors and spend a lot of time discussing them and figuring out if they're a good fit, they're going to want to see quality content you express really great expertise around. And I'm not seeing that with Dan's website. Really, he's kind of taken a 95-5 approach. So what I mean by that is 95% of his content is all about him and his services, and 5% is maybe helpful to his prospects. What I would recommend is taking an 80-20 approach. Now, I found this idea through valuable content. You see here, Sonia Jefferson wrote it many years ago, back in 2013, but when I first read it, I subscribed to it very quickly, and it's just a real digestible way to think about your content. And really the gist of it is 80% of your content needs to be helpful and educational to your audience, and 20% should be all about you. Most B2B websites have got that flipped around, where 20% of their content is helpful educational content that's going to be thought leadership, that's going to help people with the decision process, with the research process, and 80% is all about them. So this is what I would recommend to Dan. We've actually talked about this before, is take an 80-20 approach. Again, he's like at 95-5%. He needs to start creating valuable content on a regular basis that shows that he's an expert in the sales space, so that prospects come here and say, yes, these are the problems that we're having. Dan understands me really, really well. Let me reach out, start a conversation with him. Okay, so that's the first piece. The second piece is just the use of photography. If you look at the homepage here, you're going to see a common theme of really generic stock photography, and most of the images that he's using here in this automated slideshow is they're looking right at the camera, like this guy right here. Nothing screams generic about a website than the use of generic stock photography. Now, I've explored this whole idea here, 5 lazy design decisions that will make your website generic. This is a blog post that I wrote a couple years ago, and I've thought long and hard about this. And one of those things that I mentioned in this blog post is stock photography everywhere. I swear, if I see another photo of a CSR on a website's contact page, I may just lose it. So in this blog post, I mentioned a slide share that I found years ago. Not even sure who the author was on this, but it's really, really good. It's 47 slides, and the title of it is 7 types of stock images that you must stop using today. I love it. I'll link to it. It's a really good resource. But back to Dan's website, he's using a lot of generic stock photography, and it just screams, this is a generic, and potentially people could think that it's a generic business, and it's the same old sales consulting that everyone else provides. And I know that's not true, because I know Dan, and I know he's a solid guy, and he knows his stuff, and he brings a lot of value to the table. So really be careful with image selection. The third piece is conversion. And of course, with a B2B website, you're trying to inspire people to take action, right? So if you look kind of around his website, I don't see any major call to action that's really differentiated from the body that I can easily identify. One of a good tactic that I learned is kind of the squint test. So if you kind of look at your website and you squint, and you should be able to make out where the call to action is on your site, because it's got the white space, it's got the proximity, it's big enough, it's clear enough. I see here in the body of his page, he's kind of got these 3 buttons: about SPI, schedule a confidential consultation, join our mailing list. I want to see the schedule a confidential consultation here in the top of his site somewhere, or it doesn't even have to be in the top. It needs to be clear. He's got this contact SPI section. Always avoid a generic contact section. Try to be a little bit more specific with how someone can reach out to you. Here's a couple different examples from some of our clients. Cactus Technologies, they decided to frame their CTA around talking to an expert. So talk to a Cactus expert that you see here. So if you kind of squint your eyes, you can definitely see that it passes the squint test. That button is very obvious when you squint. And the second example is MCT. So these guys are distributors of high-speed video cameras, and their major call to action is request a product demo, right? It's not contact us. There is a contact page, but the call to action is request a product demo. And then the third example is Falcon's Creative Group. They have schedule a conversation, which is a very approachable way. You click that button, it takes you to a form. But again, they're avoiding a generic contact us section. And Dan has this schedule a confidential consultation, but I want to see this instead of a generic contact section. Still let people contact you, maybe with a general form if they want to, but don't make that the focus. There you go. That is your B2B website teardown, episode number 2. Hopefully this has been helpful. Again, if you know anybody that would like a teardown, please introduce me to them. I'd love to provide some value and dig into that and give you some tips. So until next time, thanks guys.